Hey, so Leo, this one's for you. Hi, this is Tarot Lumination. That's you, Leo. This is your love relationship report for February 2018. Okay, so let's do the little preamble like we do. I know some of you want me to just dive in, but I think, we have to allow for people who just arrived. So excuse that noise. It's the printing and office machinery recalibrating itself. Sorry, I can't stop it. It's on automatic programming. So we're going to use the crucible spread, okay, on the understanding that there's you, Leo, a significant other, and then a third entity, the relationship itself, okay? And in a healthy relationship, both parties conduct through the relationship and they invest in the relationship, and they're always checking on each other through the relationship. And when you deliberately build a structure like vows or like a marriage example, then it allows for an environment in which the relationship can enjoy the process of intimacy separation, without meaning it's the end of the world. When you go through moments of, let's say, extreme separation, you can still choose to come back in the middle, knowing that everything's going to be okay because it has been decreed. Okay, it has been, let's say, proclaimed. All right. So there's all sorts of planetary things going on, but I'm going to focus on the eclipses for you, Leo, because it's right in your front yard, so to speak. We're coming into February. You just came out of the really powerful full moon eclipse at the end of January, the 31st, where the moon was in Leo, right in your home turf, and the sun is in your 7th house of relationship, primary relationship, like marriage, business contract, with one-on-one relationships. And so, this too shall pass, but this is like a time period, and it's the protocol here with tarot. They all do their tarot readings. All of us, it seems, do it according to the zodiac signs. So tarot illumination is no different. It seems to work. So right now the sun is at maximum polarity opposition to you. So you might be feeling about, in very stark, vivid ways, about everything that's really good about the relationship, but everything that's really not good or working about the relationship as well. Okay, so we have to take that into account. Hold on, I got to keep shuffling here to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry about all of that. And let's just, we'll get on with it in a moment. The point that I'm trying to put across here, let me just get the doodle, okay? I like to make these little doodles. I'm going to forget all the other stuff. I'm going to focus purely on the relationship axis. Leo, Aquarius, Leo, Aquarius, Aquarius, Leo, Aquarius, Leo, because it's happening right now. It's very active right now. You've just come out of this eclipse here, where it's a stark awakening of what's maybe not working with you, for you, in the love department regarding your part in the relationship. And in a couple of weeks, in the middle of February, put it that way, you're going to have this huge new moon eclipse over here in Aquarius, right bang in the middle of your 7th house. And so that's on the south node. So it's a very strong indication that you might become starkly aware of everything that's not working, and that needs to be basically left behind because you've outgrown the situation, the relationship in that particular way of understanding. And it's time to think of the relationship in a whole new way going forward, however that plays out, whatever that might be. We don't know yet. We're hoping the cards will give us a little bit of a hint in telling the story. So Leo, we do have angels present. Tarot Illumination is got a whole pack, and you've got your team as well, okay? So we're going to bless the reading and understand that our angels are present, making the best of this for everybody, okay? Remember, it's a general reading. It's not a private thing. There are thousands of people who are going to watch this, so I hope it works for you in some way or other. Just please be aware, with the Aquarius South Node new moon eclipse in the middle of February, it's going to be a real serious shake-up and rattle of what's happening in your most important love life relationship, okay? So here we go. We're almost ready to go. Almost there. Sorry, it took a long time to get that out there before we're even cutting the cards, but I had to let you guys know, okay? It would be irresponsible of me not to let you know, right? So here we go. We're just going to cut it up big time, all right? All right, this would be the energy that you're radiating in love, in relationship. This would be the energy that they're radiating accordingly. It's almost like, you know, the laws of attraction, okay? Now, deep down, this is what your soul is radiating. You might not understand any of this or have any language for it, but you know, we're still pulsing. It might be very subconscious. And the same thing for the significant other, okay, Leo? So, and here's the energy of the relationship itself, okay? There's you, there's the other, there's the relationship. There is the crucible in which the relationship is conducted. These are the prospects. Where do we go from here? So we're going to look at circumstantial energy, and you, Leo, like everyone else, is going to make the best of it. So you've got the Ten of Wands. So it's a feeling. You might just be feeling it. You might not be aware of it in very conscious terms, or it might just be circumstantial where it's almost like you're walking around. You know, everyone's doing their roles, everyone's playing their parts, doing their things, but circumstantially, it feels like it's almost unbearable anymore. There's something going on deep, deep inside, or maybe even very openly or overtly in the context of this love relationship that is just no longer tenable. It's just like whether it's ever going to make it. It's just so much work to keep it going, to keep things going. And you might be doing all the work, or they might be doing all the work. And this question is it even worth it? What's going to happen? There's something really significant is going to end here. And that's going to open the door for a new beginning. It's inevitable. And because it's the South Node, it's kind of inescapable. It's all about outgrowing and leaving behind whatever it is redundant, obsolete, and is no longer serving you, Leo. So if you try to fight this energy, if the prevailing circumstances make you feel as though, you know, it's almost unbearable, even though nobody might even be talking about it, if you're feeling it deep inside and your gut and your souls know, then it has to be acknowledged. Because sometimes people can, you know, be together for decades or more, or even just a couple of years, and then they can be denying this forever, but eventually it comes to the surface. If there's something really untenable about the relationship that needs to be addressed, then now is the time. So let's have a look. What's going on? Okay, you might be feeling seriously left out. If you look at it with the Five of Pentacles here, if you think of pentacles as resources, almost like chips or coins of love, there's only, like, in terms of Saturn energy, there's only so many years that we have in this lifetime on this planet, you know, so we have to make the best of it. So what are you going to do with your resources regarding love? You know, the amount of love that you have in terms of a commodity that you carry inside of you that you can share with yourself and with others in a deeply loving relationship. So if you're at a point where you're feeling like your pockets are almost empty, and that no matter how hard you have striven, no matter how much work has been put into the relationship, it's feeling like you're left out, cut out, not necessarily dumped, because there's still a partnership going on here, but the partnership is in deep jeopardy. And that happens sometimes, even with the best of intentions. We go through phases and cycles, you know, we can intimate, we separate. And in a very old-fashioned relationship, like an old-fashioned marriage where it's for better or for worse, and sickness and health, you might be going through a phase or a period right now where it's very challenging for you personally, because you might be struggling to keep your act together, feeling that you're depleted, like there's only so much more that you can do. You can't carry the burden of what's not working in this relationship anymore. And they might be feeling the same. Well, how do you expect how does the significant other expect to carry all the burden of what's not working in the relationship so that you can carry on? And so you become starkly aware that like a marriage relationship is one of the most important decisions we ever make in our lives. So if we make a good decision, things can be really awesome. If we make a poor decision and things start degenerating over time, we realized, oh my gosh, we were too naive, or we didn't know what we were doing when we got into this. And you can realize it could be one of the worst decisions you ever made. There still might be a lot of love, but if it's changing with the South Node eclipse, for example, to like the inevitable change in evolution where there's no going back to the old ways, only going forward to the new ways, allowing what needs to fall apart to be obsolete and fall away, then that can feel very, very much like you're being, let's say, you're like you're sleeping on the sofa, put it that way. I don't want to get any tougher, harder, or meaner than that. What about the other? It's almost like they're already looking beyond to new horizons now, to the point where they've already figured out this is untenable. They can't handle it anymore. It's too much to carry. It's too much for them to carry. It's too much for you to carry. The whole relationship might be so burdensome that it's untenable. And so they might be actually thinking of like new prospects, new horizons. Well, what am I supposed to do now? If it's all falling apart because of, let's say, blame it on the eclipses if you want, okay? But, if we just look back to the imagery here in the tarot itself, if despite all your best efforts, Leo, it feels that things are, let's say, not exactly picture perfect right now, and the other party is already thinking, well, this is not working. This is just not working. We've run out of resources and they're moving on. Maybe they will reconnect. Maybe it's a deeply loving commitment and this is just a phase. But they are seriously looking to new horizons. Like, where are we going to go with this? What are the prospects here if we're really seriously, honestly, totally down in the dumps and we're at rock bottom in a relationship? Can you understand, my dear sweetheart, why I would be looking to new horizons, new prospects about what to do and how to do it? I might be doing this for myself. I might be doing it for us, but that's my business. I feel in jeopardy right now because if this is the circumstantial energy, remember, this is your reading, Leo. It's not for the significant other. So this is your circumstantial energy. Like if you're holding it all together and it's just, you can't handle it anymore, and you're sensing or maybe just observing quietly as they seem to be gazing elsewhere, then that could be very painful and uncomfortable for you and make this feel even worse than it is already. Okay, let's have a look. Let's go deeper. Oh, whew. So in some ways, Leo, you're kind of like idiot proof here in this situation because it's almost like you can always pull out the trump card. Hey, wait a minute. I'm a Leo. Don't forget that. Remember who you're hitched to here. Like, dear sweetheart, I can tell you're really frustrated and you're feeling things as cold and left out on the sofa as I am. You're sleeping over there, I'm sleeping over here, and it's okay. I get it, I understand, but don't forget, I'm all this and I've got all this, okay? I still have that, okay? Now, whether that's actually apparent and it's going to manifest or not, that's a whole other thing. Okay, because it seems like a lot of things have to be, let's say, set aside and allowed to dissolve, not necessarily dissolve, but they need to be released. Okay, certain aspects of the relationship, the love life, need to be released and let go so that whatever's new can actually unfold. If you try to fight this, you're just going to make this worse, and this is going to get heavier and heavier, and it's going to be harder and harder for you to maintain your natural, bright, shining light self, and which will make them, the significant other, look even farther and farther to other horizons, okay, to try to figure out what the heck they're going to do in the context of this relationship with you. Let's have a look at their core. Oh dear. Sorry, I didn't mean to personalize it like that. When I said, oh dear, like that, that was my personal impression. And I try to be neutral in these readings, but I'm sorry that slipped out. But I've said it now. It's like you might be perceiving things from very extreme angles here, like noticing everything and anything that's not working, even though You know you're being your ultimate best and most loving, wonderful self. And you want that for yourself. You want that for your significant other. You want that for the relationship. It's That's very noble. That's beautiful. However, that's your energy. Over here, this is their energy. They may be on a very different page to you, Leo, where they're starting to see things from a totally new perspective, where maybe things are redundant, obsolete, and need to be released and let go. And that's actually very tragic for them. You see, that's what I'm thinking here, because it's almost like so much love, and then if it ends up that they're looking elsewhere because maybe they're heartbroken in some way or another that they maybe can't explain yet, and there's still potential for love out there, but what is the context? What is the new structure in which this is going to happen? Because we don't know yet. In this reading, going through February here, it's kind of like maximized pressure on you, Leo, to be the Leo, but it's also maximum pressure on what's not working. Okay, so it's a kind of very extreme reading. Okay, it's like the polarization. Leo and Aquarius, that's as far apart as you can get in terms of relationship. That's the full-on 180 degrees thing, which is the most uncomfortable and potentially the most painful aspect in any kind of relationship. But it's also potentially the most rewarding because you get maximum reflection. And in love relationships, one of the most important ingredients of the relationship is the phenomenon of reflection and mirroring that we get from our significant other. So if you, Leo, are on this basically feeling really like rejected, left out, like things really just aren't working, you still got your good old Leo self going on the inside. And over here, they're already like, it's almost like they're heartbroken and moving on and thinking like, what are we supposed to do now? Despite all the love, despite whatever awesomeness might have happened, and you're realizing it full on in very, very stark, clear, unambiguous, uh, let's say either body language or behavior or some kind of signs or signals of what is not working. It's going to become very, very clearly evident. Now, can anybody talk about that or handle that? That's a whole other thing, but it's going to become very starkly evident towards the end of February. Okay, let's have a look at the relationship itself. So it's like you've got the resources to get this thing to work. And maybe it's like starting all over again, like, but from a completely new perspective. Like a lot of things have to fall apart, and a lot of things have to be rebuilt, okay, in some way or another, because things are look like they're seriously in the dumps here, and it needs to be faced, it needs to be acknowledged, it needs to be dealt with. It's almost unbearably in the dumps, not just for you, but for them and for the whole relationship itself. But it could trigger this like magical moment where both of you realize, well, let's look at the bigger picture. We still have each other. Yes, we're going through a cycle. Yes, we're going through a phase. We're both realizing the very worst about our love relationship, but we're also given an opportunity to see how wonderful things are. So what are we going to do with that? That's very empowering. So long as you get very, very clear about that and put it all on the table, so to speak, all your resources, put everything that you've got, like what have we got in this relationship? We got this, 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 and this. We got that, 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 and that, and that. So how does that work for us now? And then you go to the next step of the conversation. Well, this and this and this and this is not working, but this and this and this is working. So what are we going to do with that? You've got this, this, and this as positive resources. So what do you do with that? Okay, let's pull out the magic wand and see what happens. Okay, you acknowledged at some deep, profound level, it's some kind of soulmate relationship. And in some ways, this is meant to happen, for better or for worse. And this is just a phase, it's just a cycle. My feeling here is that there's still a lot of love going on. It's just that there's something very tragic about what's happening here, and that it's almost like a deep soulmate love relationship that has come up to a point, it's reached its maximum culmination, and it's almost like it's over. and it has this chance to start again, but from a very new perspective, where you look at each other as soulmates, perhaps, as opposed to bedmates, or deep past life relationship dynamics coming into full light perspective here uh, in the present, the here and now, where what you thought was a relationship in the, let's say, the traditional template is essentially untenable anymore. It's unbearable anymore. It's not sustainable anymore. So what do? You go back and look at it from a new perspective, realizing, oh my gosh, it is over as we know it in terms of your typical what people would call a relationship. But from the broader perspective, if you look at it as a deep soulmate relationship, we could be starting something brand new. Yes, it might be very tragic for the significant other to see perhaps the ending of something that has so much love and light, but it's also the beginning of something almost like wondrous, but from a very new perspective. So we'll see how that goes. I I'm really tempted to play with this a bit more, but I don't want to do that because I have a feeling I'll spoil it and just add confusion. So I'm going to stop now. You guys can reinterpret this however you want. In some ways, it's very beautiful, but in some ways, it's also very tragic. Okay. So that has to be acknowledged. And I think that's very much to do with the South Node new moon eclipse in Aquarius in the middle of the month, right on Valentine's. Okay. So let's leave it at that. You can reinterpret however you want. Watch your sun, moon, and rising, reinterpret, and tell your own story to yourself, okay? And do your cross-watching with a significant other. All right. All the best, Leo. Take care. Thanks for visiting Terra Illumination. Bye.